Hello guys, this is going to be video number 2 in a two-part series that I decided to do today. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll link to it. I made a video here just a little while ago and I'm posting both videos up at the same time. These models are geared towards safety. The first video I posted is about what photographers can do to be safe and protect themselves. And this one is going to be what models can do to protect themselves. And a lot of people think, well, the photographers are the ones that cause the problems, but that's not coming out right. Photographers can get in as much trouble as models can. You know, they're just as vulnerable to scams, frauds, attacks, you know, the everyday stuff that unfortunately goes on in our society today. But models are usually the ones that end up being the victims, and that's why I'm doing these two videos. Like I said in my first video, I've never even done a paid shoot yet. But I do have a background in photography, and that's what I'm working on. So when I do these videos, this is helping you learn, and it's also helping me learn. It's reinforcing some stuff in my mind, so it's not stuff that I'll ever forget either. I made up a list. Matter of fact, I wrote it on the same piece of paper as the one with the photographers. But it's in no specific order, but I'm just going to start running down. The first one on the list for the photographer's safety is the model release. And as a model, it is also something else you need to be aware of. Read your model release. I use a standard one that I printed off of Getty Images. Getty is a major photo stock house that sells images to just about every news outlet you've ever heard of. If you ever watch TV or the nightly news, a lot of the times you'll see, you know, photo credits of Getty Images. That's what they do. They buy pictures from photographers, or photographers post their pictures to Getty and Getty tries to sell them. If a photographer gets a cut of it, Getty gets a cut of it, everybody's happy. That's how stock photography works. But just read over it. I noticed when I was reading this one in the last video, there is a spot in there. Your model release pretty much, you know, says that you agree that the photographer can do whatever he wants with the pictures. He owns the pictures, he owns the copyright, and in consideration you've been given $20 an hour, $30 an hour trade for prints. You know, you've been given digital copies that you can use for your own advertising and the such. But I had never much considered it, and they put it in here. Let me find it again. Anyway, there's a line in there that says, you know, I can use your pictures any way I want, and in parentheses it has except for pornographic or derogatory, defamatory purposes, which is fine with me because I don't shoot that kind of stuff anyway. But, you know, that's a line in there that protects you as the model. And then there's a lot in here at the model release that protects the photographer, so that if I pay you, or you agree to do time for prints and I end up selling the picture, the picture becomes popular, you can't come back and say, well, since the picture became popular, I want more money, or I want, you know. It just keeps a level playing field for both parties. So, you know, don't be afraid when you see a model release. That's what they're for. They're to protect you and the photographer. There are also, I haven't printed any out yet. I'm still researching them. But as far as photography contracts, the model release pretty much reads like a contract. But if you don't want your photos used for certain purposes, you can do that. In most states, you can just write it on the model release and have both parties initial it, or you can actually make up a photography contract where that's in there, and either or will protect you. Number 2, you know, a photographer contacts you, said you're the best thing ever, I want to shoot your pictures, blah 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 blah. Check for references. Anybody, and I mean anybody, can sign up for Model Mayhem, Purple Port, whatever. You know, take some pictures, scrub the watermarks off of them, say it's theirs, and lure you into a dark basement. Okay, and you know where that's hidden. But check for references. Most legitimate photographers will have their own website. They will have their own Instagram. If they've shot pictures, those models should be tagged in those pictures. Contact those models. Hey, are you related to this guy? Are you independent? Is he good to work with? I mean, if he's shooting out of his house, did you feel safe? Hey, check me out. I mean, I don't want to work with a model that's not comfortable because the pictures are going to turn out bad. They're going to be nervous the whole time. But check their references. That'll keep you safe, or hopefully keep you safe, and maybe keep you from walking into a situation you shouldn't in the first place. Location. Unfortunately, a lot of new photographers, or a lot of photographers in general, can't afford a studio. I mean, commercial property is expensive. So a lot of them will set up studios in their basement, garages, an exterior, building like a pole barn or one of them huge sheds. And all work fine for studios, but as a model, as a female walking into it, it's like, is this guy legit? I mean, unfortunately, a lot of studios are like that because photography isn't the big money booming business it used to be. There's a gazillion photographers out there all fighting for business, so the money isn't as big as it used to be. Escorts. If you ever have a photographer tell you, no, you can't bring your mother, or you can't bring your boyfriend, or you can't, you have to come alone, red flag, just walk away. If they, and I might piss off some, fellow photographers by saying that, but, I want you guys to be safe. And I wouldn't feel safe if I was a female walking into, a basement to somebody that I've only ever talked to on the internet. Bring a big burly guy with you. But as a photographer, I am going to ask, and I may even just say it outright, if you have a jealous boyfriend, that's constantly creeping, if you have, your mother saying, well, she looks better if she's turned this way, or, she's so gorgeous with the light here, and I think she's better with her, mom, back the hell off. I'm shooting this photo shoot. I'm paying her to do it, not the other way around. So let's, I appreciate your input, but let's keep it, And, jealous boyfriends, and a lot of modeling. I've never done nudes or boudoir. I would like to get into it eventually. I'm not confident enough to do it yet. I don't know if I'm brave enough to tell a woman to take off her clothes. Sorry, that's just the way it is. But say I do an implied shoot where I just want a headshot from the top of your chest up, and you wrap yourself in a towel or a robe or pull your shirt down over, and Mr. Jealous Boyfriend starts puffing his chest up and getting all angry, and it's not a good time for anybody. They're there for your safety. Just don't let them get overzealous. Equipment. Now, I'm not much one to talk on this because, here, I'll show you. I am shooting with an old, and I mean old, but it still takes good pictures, is a Canon D300. This is an old piece of tech, but it still takes good pictures. It takes pictures that I can sell to stock houses. It takes pictures that I can build a portfolio with. But, if you walk in there and you see a couple table lamps, and the guy is holding a Polaroid or a Kodak wind-up camera that you buy from CVS, how people take them and put them out on the tables at weddings and stuff. Yeah. Okay. You get the picture. It's going to be pretty obvious if the person knows what they're doing right off the bat. Put that down before I break it. But keep in mind that all photographers can't afford the latest and greatest. I'd love to have me a nice full-frame Nikon 870 or 5D Mark IV, but $4,000 just for the body is a little out of my budget at the moment. I grew up on the water, so I call it a sailing plan or a flight plan. Before you go, if you don't have an escort, or even if you do have an escort, leave a note on your table or on your car seat or with a family member saying, I am going to meet this photographer at this address. I'm going to be there from this time to this time. Here's my cell phone number. I will contact you at this time. You know, that way if something goes bad, they know where you are. You know, there's going to be the cavalry coming. And I'll never put you in that predicament, but unfortunately it's been in the news. All you got to do is Google it, that some unscrupulous wannabe photographers or people claiming to be photographers have done it in the past. I talked about it in the last video, is professionalism. You know, when you walk in with me, I'm going to have a shot sheet, you know, a list of ideas that I want to do. Because more than likely I've already talked to you in person or I've emailed back and forth with you, and I have a list of, you know, ideas. And let's say, well, I want to take a headshot from here up, and I'd like to do a tasteful nude with you behind a sheer curtain so all I see is your silhouette. You know, I want it to look like this, and, you know, it's coming close to Valentine's Day. I want to do a nude on the bed with your privates covered in rose petals. And then I just want to do a nice one of you in the sundress, and you look over and say, well, I don't really feel comfortable with the nudes, you know, but the sundress is fine. I love wearing pretty dresses, and you know, just the implied from the chest up is fine, but I don't want to do the nudes. Okay, fine. Those are off the books. Here's the shoot we're going to do today. We're going to do you in a nice pretty sundress, and we're going to do this, you know. Know what you're getting into. You know, agree with the photographer ahead of time what you're getting into. And if you ever walk in and, you know, oh, baby, you're beautiful and you're so hot, do me a favor and just take off all your clothes now, and we're going to do some of the best nudes you've ever seen. And he tries to pressure you and take a walk. You know, if that's not what you're comfortable with, don't feel afraid to turn around and walk, because that's not professional. More than likely he's somebody that's going to take the pictures and put them out all over the internet and try to make a buck on Pornhub or something. I mean, I don't know what they do with them, but it only takes a couple photographers to make us all look bad. So I'm telling you as a photographer that if you walk in and a photographer tells you, feeds you a line of smoke and tells you to strip, turn around and walk. If that's not what you've already agreed to, if that's the kind of pictures you like to take, then fine. But don't let a photographer pressure you into anything you don't want to do. Because if you're not comfortable, the pictures are going to look bad. You're not going to look comfortable in the pictures. And I think that's about all I had for this list. I'm sure there's a million more, and I'm sure I'll end up making more videos on it. But please, be safe out there, you know. I'd like to hire some of you guys, or at least do some TFP with you guys. And I'd like you to still be around when I finally work up the nerve to ask you. So, everybody, be safe. See y'all later.